Welcome to the University of Maryland Robert H. Smith School of Business Energy Club podcast series. Our podcasts are designed to connect you, our listeners, to current issues in the industry and the employers targeting them. This podcast is part one of a multi-part series of interviews with Constellation Energy that we're airing in the spring of 2011. A Fortune 500 company, Constellation is a leading supplier of wholesale and retail energy products to electric and natural gas customers in the U.S. Constellation's fleet generates up to 12,000 megawatts of electricity, and the company saw revenues of over $14 billion in 2010. These interviews were conducted in the fall of 2010. Since our interviews, Constellation has made several acquisitions and continues to position itself as a leader in electricity generation and supply, as well as renewable energy solutions. For the most up-to-date information on the company, as well as employment opportunities, we encourage you to visit Constellation's website at www.constellation.com. Thanks for joining us, and now for our interview. I'm Kristen Thompson, and this week we're talking with Andrew Good, Senior Vice President of Corporate Strategy and Development at Constellation. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Kristen, thank you very much for having me on your show.
Let's start with a quick background. Can you tell us about your electrical generating fleet and where those facilities are located?
Sure. Constellation actually has a pretty diverse fleet. So we own nuclear power plants, coal-fired power plants, natural gas power plants, a variety of renewable power plants such as hydro, wind and solar, and then we have some older oil-fired power plants that are mainly used for peaking units. And if I think about kind of the distribution as percents of the fleet, about 20% of our fleet is nuclear, about a third is coal, another third is gas. Our renewables are about 5% of the fleet and growing, and then kind of the others make up the remaining 10%. Now, that's kind of on the capacity of the generation, so how much a power plant can produce. When you actually think about the fact that nuclear power plants run all the time, whereas natural gas-fired power plants tend to provide peaking capability, so some of them only run a very small percentage of the time, 2 to 5%. Then when you look at the output of our power plants, you get nuclear being more like 50% of the output of the company.
Now, at Constellation, you divide your business into power generation, customer supply, and consumer delivery through your utility, Baltimore Gas and Electric. Can you explain what it is that these three divisions do?
Yes. If we think about how Constellation goes to market, the component of Constellation that most people are familiar with and you probably pay your power bill to is Baltimore Gas and Electric, which is our local utility, and they're responsible for distributing the power on the grid to people's homes and the businesses, power and natural gas. So that's about a third of the company. And then the other side, which is called the competitive side of the business, we think about in two segments. So we've got a generation segment, which is where those power plants we just talked about are located. And if you think about the fact that we're a national energy player, those power plants can be found across the country, primarily in the Mid-Atlantic fleet, reflecting our heritage with Baltimore Gas and Electric, but also in New York. We just recently purchased some down in Texas, and we're in the process of trying to purchase some up in New England. And then the third segment of the company is our customer supply business, which we call New Energy, and that business is focused on bringing power and gas to customers, commercial, industrial, as well as residential, and then trying to provide other solutions to those customers, such as energy efficiency products, demand response products, maybe solar panels, or even HVAC. So we try to provide a whole suite of services to those customers.
And can you tell us more about who your clients are in each of these divisions?
The clients, I think, as we think of the generation side, we think really of our new energy business as the primary customer. So in our business model, our strategy is we want to provide energy solutions to our customers. So we want to provide energy to the customer. We want to own generation plants so that we actually create that physical generation that we then provide to the customers. And then we want to envelop the customer with other solutions, so energy efficiency, demand response, solar, HVAC, and so on. And so we're very much led with this customer focus. And then on the front of the customer focus, I'd say we've got kind of two approaches to market. We've got a retail segment, And in there, we're the largest seller of power to commercial and industrial companies across the country. We are recently now becoming a larger player in the retail residential, so trying to go to people's homes. And in fact, you may have seen one of our flyers in the mail recently from Constellation Electric offering to sell you power at below what your local utility can. We sell natural gas, so we have a very large retail natural gas operation focused on commercial industrial. Again, we're one of the largest in the country. And then we also have these HVAC services. So BG Home, very well-respected brand name in Maryland, goes out and we provide a variety of services in the home. And then we've got a commercial angle where we go in and we try to work with places like actually stadiums, so the Patriots Stadium in Foxborough or the Steelers Stadium. We go in and we try to give them energy efficiency products so that they can run the stadiums in a more cost-effective manner, and we share the savings over time. So big on that retail side. And on the wholesale side, we're actually the largest provider of power to utilities in competitive markets in the U.S. And by that I mean NSTAR, which is the local utility in Boston, buys power from us. They hold auctions, and they select the power of the people who kind of offer the lowest price with the best product. And in those types of auctions, we win large portions of that, and we ultimately end up serving NSTAR's customers, whether they're commercial, industrial, or residential. And so there it's more of a wholesale. We're selling the power to NSTAR, who then distributes it on to their customers. That's more of an auction process, so we'll get notified that an auction's upcoming. We're allowed to participate.
And that wraps up this week's portion of our interview. Join us next week when we resume our interview with Andrew Good and learn more about what Constellation's corporate strategy team does and what Andrew believes is most exciting in the industry today.